If the one job of the Jedi Temple Guards was to, guard the temple, then how come Order 66 was able to play out how it did? Well, today let's look at this unique class of Jedi and explain the significance of them having yellow lightsabers, as well as how they weren't quite as good at their jobs as they probably should have been. Now, these guys date back to the time of the Third Galactic War in 3628 BBY, because yes, I will also be including Legends content in this video. Don't worry, I'll do my best to say which one is which for most of this information, but back then they had a different appearance with similar robes, but a different structured mask nonetheless, and they appear in an old Republic game as a Jedi Guardian armor from the Club Verteca Nightlife pack. Going over to canon, they were even alive during the Old and High Republic eras, with at least one guard being at the Scourge of Malachor sometime between 5000 BBY and 1032 BBY, where their mask would be left untouched there
for a millennium.
Also, they would serve during the High Republic era, and of course the Clone Wars, where they have been shown the most. Once a Jedi became a knight, they were eligible to be a Temple Guard, and the Temple Guards were meant to be the definition of anonymity, where they all wore the same neutral expression masks, had the same robes. Also, these Jedi were forced to give up their lightsabers in order to receive the standard lightsaber pike of a Temple Guard. More on that later. These Jedi Knights and Masters didn't necessarily choose this as a pathway or a career for a Jedi, but rather they were chosen to it and are meant to view it as their role in their lifelong commitment to the Jedi Order, meant to be protectors of the temples and not allowed to show any emotion, even less than a normal Jedi. Then again, if you have someone like Anakin, that doesn't really apply, but for your, I guess, the good version of a Jedi, what they're supposed to be. But in Legends, they serve the Temple Security Force, which dates back to 3653 BBY, and they were featured in the classic Battlefront 2, also the Old Republic, and they were supposed to defend the temple from outsider attacks on it, which happened too many times across the history of the Order, and many of their ranks came from former Jedi that failed their initiation trials, that being the security force, not the Jedi Temple Guards. While they were mainly stationed on Coruscant, going to and from the Grand Jedi Temple, the Temple Guards were also allowed to go to other planets for missions there, such as many Temple Guards that went with Jedi Master Ella Sutan, among other Jedi, to the planet Dalna to deal with the Path of the Open Hand cult, which is from a novel, I'm pretty sure. Also, all Jedi Temple Guards during the Clone Wars era served under Sindralig, who was the battle master and head of security for the Jedi and was held with high regard by many, including Anakin Skywalker. Their lightsabers. For their weapons and armor, the Temple Guards were given lightsaber pikes, which had long hilts with small yellow blades on each side, which was a very rare type of lightsaber among the Jedi at the time of the Clone Wars. They also had layers of armor weave in their robes to provide some resistance from blaster fire and lightsaber strikes also. While these lightsaber pikes were very common, some Temple Guards also use hinged double-bladed lightsabers like Pong Krell or Rey, and also some had lightsaber pikes with only one blade. So there was a little bit of variation, but for the most part it just was these lightsaber pikes for almost all of them. All Temple Guards were said to be skilled swordsmen, and the main forms used by them was Form 6, Niman, and Form 3, Saruso, as their pikes allowed for a more defensive style than your standard lightsaber, although the majority of them used Form 6 rather than Form 3, and keep in mind that Form 6 is the one that combines the preceding lightsaber forms, mastering the basic moves, but doing all of them overall in moderation, meaning there wasn't a significant advantage with it, but it still got the job done nonetheless. The summary of Form 3 is one that is completely defensive and relied on tight blade work and unnoticeable dodges to ensure the most defensive covering. In canon, Form 6 relied on force abilities more than the other forms, but in Legends that's not really a thing that is mentioned there. The Temple Guards had other equipment on them too, like a set of keys on their belts, which opened up areas of the Jedi Temple, including restricted areas, and while it isn't confirmed anywhere on Wikipedia, I'm going to assume this could be referring to the restricted section of the archives, and also places that we haven't even seen yet. The Clone Wars episode Season 5, Episode 20, titled The Wrong Jedi, was the first time we ever got yellow lightsabers on screen in canon. When they turned them on, while Anakin is fighting Barriss Offee, and in the development for this season, the pike blades were originally going to be green. So what's the meaning behind the yellow lightsabers, and why did the Temple Guards get specifically yellow? Well, in Legends, there was a class of Jedi known as Jedi Sentinels, which were focused more on unique roles like security, medicine, and demolitions. Yellow was the color commonly associated with the Jedi Sentinels, and therefore it makes sense that the Temple Guards, who were all about security, would in fact use them. The other two schools of thought that a Jedi could be in Legends were Jedi Guardians, who commonly used blue lightsabers, and Jedi Counselors, who commonly used green lightsabers, and then there is of course Samuel L. Jackson, who just happened to ask for a purple lightsaber, leading to all of the rest of lightsaber colors existing. Even though I will be the first to admit that even if he hadn't done this, they most likely would have been developed down the road anyway. Still, I'm going to give credit where credit's due, because Samuel L. Jackson is a legend for that. Also, in that Clone Wars episode I mentioned earlier, not only do they use that in the duel between Anakin and Barriss Offee, but also later on during the scene where Barriss is sentenced and stuff, they all have their lightsabers out. And also, when Anakin tries to barge through them, they hold him back with them at one point too. Notable members of the Jedi Temple Guard include the Powin Jedi Knight, who later became the Grand Inquisitor and was the sole survivor of Order 66, that being of the Jedi Temple Guards. Also, there was an unidentified Jedi Temple Guard who, in canon, saw the 501st led by a figure cloaked in black, and he was confused but not threatened per se. So he called out Skywalker, recognizing him, but was cut down by the newly anointed Sith Lord. This leads to our question from earlier about the Jedi Temple Guards during Order 66, and there's a theory from writer Henry Gilroy who states he believed that the Grand Inquisitor murdered the other Temple Guards during the attack to follow Vader and the clones into the temple, and that's how they were dealt with so easily. Personally, I think that's cool, but it also kind of undermines the surprise of that attack and the seriousness of Anakin's betrayal and sacrifice of his own life there, because if you think about it, he's basically sacrificing his entire life as a Jedi just to save Padme, not Palpatine. I don't think he was in a relationship with Palpatine quite yet.
Not if anything to say about it, I have.
Overall, it would appear for the most part, the Temple Guards were pretty skilled though, and usually did a fairly good job, although it's fair to say that a religious group of monks, like the Jedi, probably aren't known for making the best military decisions, and therefore yes, there is a better way to defend against armies of blaster-wielding clones and bombings on the temple than guards with double-bladed swords and armor that's like 10% better than stormtrooper armor. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. Check out the live streams we're doing on Friday nights, because those are pretty cool. Also, check out the merch store, because there's some very cool summer merch items on there, which you might enjoy and would definitely help out the channel as well. Also guys, let me know in the comments how your week's been, or any type of videos you want me to do in the future. But with that said, I do upload normal videos every Friday at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also shorts every single day. But yeah, see ya.